headlines. North Korea's state media reports that its leader Kim Jong-un has resumed public activity, releasing photos of Kim walking with a cane. Now, Kakao debuts on Korea's KOSDAQ, bringing together the country's two major IT players. Its shares surged more than 8% on day one, topping out the junior index. And a Vatican report says gays and lesbians should be welcomed, marking a significant shift in attitude toward homosexuals. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Coming to you live from Seoul, I am Kang Chery. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has stepped out of the shadows. It's his first public appearance in nearly 6 weeks. He still walked with a limp, but what's different this time is that walk came with a cane. Hwang Sung-hee has more.
With a walking stick firmly in hand, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has reappeared in public for the first time in 40 days. The North state-run Korean Central News Agency reported Tuesday that Kim gave field guidance at the newly built Wisong Scientists Residential District at Natural Energy Institute, although they did not specify when the visits took place. Kim's longest absence since coming into power in late 2011 had fueled rampant speculation about his health and even a possible coup. He had been walking with a limp since early July, up until his last public appearance at a concert with his wife on September 3rd. While Kim's re-emergence with a cane could be seen as his physical vulnerability, some experts say it will bolster the North Korean people's trust in their leader.
They will see him as someone who perseveres and who has overcome this challenge, and that when they have hardships, they may believe that Kim Jong-un is setting an example for us, and we need to persevere and overcome our hardships as well. But
others question why Kim suddenly re-emerged after missing two high-profile public events, the Foundation Day of the North Korean state on September 9th and the anniversary of the establishment of the Workers' Party last Friday. But officials here at the Unification Ministry do point out that it is rare to see the North Korean leader walking with a cane. They say that Kim may have rushed back to the public eye to prove that he still maintains a firm grip on power. Hwang Sung-hee, ARIRANG News.
And staying with North Korea, revisiting its earlier report, the U.S.-based Institute for Science and International Security says North Korea may have shut down its 5-megawatt reactor at the Yongbyon nuclear complex. The think tank, however, did also stress that it does not mean the site has been permanently shut down, adding that the reactor is likely to restart. The agency says although it's difficult to pinpoint the exact cause, North Korea appears to be trying to remove fuel rods, suggesting that it may be chemically separating plutonium in order to build nuclear weapons. President Park Geun-hye embarked on a 5-day trip to Italy today to attend this year's Asia-Europe meeting in Milan. She will also meet with Pope Francis in Rome as well. Our Choi-sun has the details.
Just 3 weeks after her diplomatic debut at the United Nations, President Park Geun-hye will attend the 10th summit of the Asia-Europe meeting, better known as ASEM, in Milan, Italy this week. In line with the summit's theme of responsible partnership for sustainable growth and security, the Korean president will talk about her vision for connectivity between Asia and Europe, in particular her campaign to link energy and logistics infrastructure between the two continents.
President Park will explain her Eurasia initiative to leaders from Europe and Asia and secure support from SM leaders.
It's speculated President Park may talk about North Korean issues at the global summit. On Friday, the president will visit Rome for summit talks with her Italian counterparts and seek stronger cooperation in her envisioned creative economy of converging IT with culture and other sectors. Seoul and Rome will also discuss increasing trade and joint energy projects.
Italy, the origin of the Renaissance and a fashion and cultural powerhouse, would be the best partner for Korea's creative economy.
Aside from economic relations, President Park will solidify Italy's support of our North Korea and unification policies. She will also pay a visit to Pope Francis, who made a historic visit to South Korea in August. Her latest visit is expected to bolster two-way relations as Korea and Italy celebrate the 130th anniversary of diplomatic ties this year. 최유선, ARIRANG News.
For the latest in news that impacts Korea and the world, join Kang Chery for a lively half hour that covers politics, business, international news, and much more. Live at 8 every weeknight on ARIRANG TV.
Human Rights Council headquarters in Geneva on Thursday, finding ways to. Kakao Korea's newest IT giant made a strong debut on the Korean stock market on this Tuesday. It's already established itself as the #1 listing on the junior Kosdaq index, but privacy concerns have spoiled a bit of the fun. Our Hwang Sung-hee has the details.
Daum Kakao, born through the merger of a Korean internet portal operator Daum and messaging application firm Kakao Talk, was listed on the Korean Stock Exchange on Tuesday. The new tech giant got off to a good start, with prices of its shares rising 9.5% on the first day of trading. They ended trading at around 140,000 won, or roughly $130. The entity's market cap reaches over $7 billion, easily surpassing Celltrion, the previous #1 on the country's secondary bourse. However, it still falls short of earlier expectations of $9.5 billion amid recent privacy concerns, spurred by reports that authorities are able to monitor Kakao messages in real time. Daum Kakao has apologized for the controversy, saying it will make privacy its top priority even when there is a discord between privacy and law.
We have not been responding to requests from investigators to monitor messages since October 7th, and that will continue.
And such comments, experts say, point to concerns over the company's new business models.
Daum Kakao thinks its new financial businesses will suffer if it fails to gain trust from users over the services it currently provides.
The security vow comes as the new company also tries hard to maintain its 35 million local users in a country of 50 million. Users fearing possible government surveillance is migrating to other messenger services like German-based Telegram, which has recently emerged as one of the most popular apps in the local market. Hwang Sung-hee, ARIRANG News.
Major foreign investment banks forecast the Korean economy to grow 3.8% next year. That's an average from 27 institutions surveyed by Bloomberg, and it's lower than the 4% forecast by the Korean government as well as the Bank of Korea. This comes after the IMF's downgraded on the global growth forecast for next year. As for Korea-specific downside risks, some cited the North Korea factor as well as the weakening yen. The Korean cosmetics industry is enjoying a boom as of late. The Korea International Trade Association says the trade surplus in cosmetics products came to $147.7 million over the first 8 months of this year. This is the first ever trade surplus in this sector for Korea. Leading the way were increased shipments to China, up nearly 70% on year, and accounting for more than a quarter of all cosmetics exports from Korea. And it's the news Korean Apple fans have been waiting for. The new iPhone 6 models will hit store shelves here in Korea on October 31st. Apple filed an application last week and won radio wave certificates for its iPhone 6 and 6 Plus on Monday. It will be the first time Apple's smartphone devices will be sold through all three mobile carriers at the same time. And the new iPhone models will also be launched on the same day in 23 other countries. The world's largest smartphone maker, of course, that is Samsung Electronics, and social networking site may be forging a new friendship. Samsung Electronics Vice Chairman Lee Jae-yong met with Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg this evening at Samsung's headquarters in southern Seoul to discuss their future cooperation. Samsung's IT and mobile division president Kim Jong-un and Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg were also in tow. Industry watchers anticipate that a collaboration between the two companies could result in a merging of mobile content and wearable devices. Korea's largest shopping mall opened today in southern Seoul, but can retail giant Lotte shake off the concerns over the safety of this structure is the remaining question. Kim Min-ji reports.
Becoming a global multi-purpose shopping complex, that's the goal Lotte World Mall will strive to achieve. Korea's largest shopping mall, which comes with a luxury department store, a duty-free store, Asia's largest cinema and an aquarium, opened to the public on Tuesday. With some 1,000 local and global brands included in its lineup, Lotte wants visitors to shop, dine and enjoy entertainment under one roof. But the retail giant still has some major obstacles to clear. The mall was due to open at an earlier date, but this was pushed back due to worries about traffic congestion as well as some serious safety concerns. The district is already a busy residential area with a large theme park, so traffic is expected to worsen with the opening of the mall. In a bid to encourage customers to use public transportation, Lotte plans to build an underground pedestrian plaza in the area that will connect with a nearby subway station. The mall will also adopt a parking reservation system and will only provide a pay parking lot. To address well-documented safety concerns following the appearance of sinkholes and a decline in water level in a nearby lake, Lotte says the mall will undergo regular safety inspections in conjunction with the city government and follow strict management measures. But due to such concerns, some residents are staging protests, demanding the city government withdraw its decision to allow the mall to open. Kim Min-ji, ARIRANG News.
And more noise can be heard close to the new Lotte World Mall by a towering, gigantic, and yet such a cute presence in a nearby lake. The gigantic yellow rubber duck that's wowed many cities, including Amsterdam, Osaka, and Sydney since 2007, is now in Seoul. Our Kwon So-hwa went out and met the rubber ducky.
A giant yellow guest from the Netherlands has been getting a lot of attention since arriving at Seoul's Seokchon Lake from early Tuesday to its noticeable deflation by the afternoon. This duck looks exactly like the rubber duck kids often play with in the bathtub, just a lot bigger. The purpose of the 16.5-meter tall art piece? Healing and relieving tension around the world, according to the creator of the Rubber Duck Project, Florentine Hoffman. He has been sending the duck to waters around the world since 2007.
I saw a lot about the Rubber Duck Project on social networking sites and was very excited when I heard it would come to Korea. Now that I'm seeing it with my own eyes, it's very cute.
But there is controversy mixed in with the cuteness. Many people have wondered aloud why it is being floated in the relatively small-sized Seokchon Lake and not Seoul's famous Hangang River. Fingers have been directed at Lotte, one of the organizers of the project, which just so happens to have opened a new mega mall not too far from the lake.
There have been many cases where this project has been misused for commercial means, and that's why we discuss every detail with the artist beforehand. All the profits we make go to charity.
That is maybe why visitors did not hesitate to stand in lines to buy rubber ducks that cost around $22 US. Kwon So-hwa, ARIRANG News.
Fusion and hybrids, terms that we have become familiar with in recent years, mostly in tech and in some cases fashion. But as our Shin Se-min reports, get ready to witness a whole new kind of hybrid, one that claims to fend off cancer.
This vegetable may look normal on the surface, but it's much, much more. It contains components that fight cancer and is the first so-called functional veggie in the world. Developed by a seed expert in Chungcheongbuk-do province after years of study, this produce is a crossbreed of Korean cabbage and turnip and contains an excessive amount of beta-carotene that is associated with reducing the risk of cancer.
I used a biotechnology technique called microspore cultivation to fully embrace its characteristics.
Park says the vegetable can be grown all year round using regular cultivation methods. It has also been genetically modified to be insect-resistant and has strong soil adaptability, so it can even be grown in a small garden.
The pace of growth is much faster than other produce, and it is fresher and crunchier as we have to gather them daily.
The only catch right now is that the seeds are quite pricey. Experts say the cost will come down, however, as farmers begin reaping the profits from their mass production and as more consumers begin reaching for healthier options. Shin Se-min, ARIRANG News.
A UN health worker who was infected with the Ebola virus has died in Germany, marking the latest fatal case of the disease outside of West Africa. And for more, our Paul E. is joining us from the news center. Paul, this patient arrived in Europe last week for emergency treatment. How did he get infected?
Well, health officials say he was a Sudanese doctor who contracted Ebola in one of the outbreak zones in Liberia. And despite intensive medical care at a hospital in Leipzig, the 56-year-old succumbed to the serious infection on Tuesday. The death comes on the heels of a new warning by the WHO on the growing epidemic. Our Connie Kim has this report.
As far as warnings go, they don't get much starker than this. The World Health Organization says this Ebola outbreak is the most severe acute public health emergency in modern times. A statement delivered on behalf of WHO Director General Margaret Chan said the epidemic could even lead to failed states. She added that the outbreak proves the world is not prepared to respond to any severe health emergency. The death toll from this outbreak surpassed 4,000 last week, but Chan did not mention latest figures, saying instead that the numbers are rising exponentially. With the epidemic seemingly spiraling out of control, London's Heathrow Airport will begin screening for Ebola on Tuesday. Around 1,000 people from Ebola-affected nations have arrived in Britain over the last month, and an estimated 85% of them entered the country via Heathrow. Through monitoring, British authorities hope to track their movement and quickly isolate a patient if they start developing symptoms. International concerns about the spread of Ebola outside of West Africa peaked earlier this week after a healthcare worker became the first person to contract the virus within the United States. Connie Kim, ARIRANG News.
And shifting to Rome, the Vatican has released a report that calls for the Roman Catholic Church to adopt a more accepting stance on gays and lesbians. Paul, this marks a major shift in tone for the Vatican. What's been the reaction to this call for reform?
Well, Catholics around the world have expressed mixed feelings. Catholic gay rights groups have hailed it as a breakthrough, while conservative ones are labeling as a betrayal. The Assembly of 200 Bishops released on Tuesday the report, which calls on Christians to be more open about gay people, unmarried couples, and children from unconventional family settings. Our Son Jung-in has more.
It is being described as a striking shift in tone by the Catholic Church regarding gays and lesbians. Following a week-long closed-door meeting, the Vatican released a preliminary report Monday, which showed an unprecedented openness to accepting the relationships of same-sex couples. It said they had gifts and qualities to offer the Christian community. While no doctrinal changes in the Church's condemnation of homosexual acts or gay marriage were proposed, the report said it should recognize the positive aspects of civil unions and couples who cohabit. The document summarizes the ongoing debate between Pope Francis and 200 bishops on traditionally controversial issues such as divorce, birth control, and homosexuality. Bishops said although Catholicism does not support same-sex marriage, they must find ways to make gay people feel included. It's language that is less judgmental and more compassionate than previous statements under different popes. Roman Catholic gay rights groups around the world hailed the review, describing it as a breakthrough and a major step forward, while conservatives within the church rejected it, calling it a betrayal of traditional family values. With the basis of the preliminary document, the Bishops' Assembly is due to continue this week, with the final draft expected to be issued on Saturday. 손정인, ARIRANG News.
And in the latest update on the protest in Hong Kong, police have continued to crack down on barricades put up by pro-democracy activists after clashing with anti-Occupy groups just the day before. These protesters, mostly students at this point, are facing intense pressure to back down now.
Well, in response, demonstrators are digging themselves in even deeper by putting up new reinforcements, while others have poured concrete over existing roadblocks. The South China Evening Post reported police were removing the barricades in Causeway Bay on this Tuesday with chainsaws and bolt cutters in hand. Authorities say they will continue taking down the barricades that block traffic at key parts of the city, but stress they had no plans to clear the main protest sites.
I believe later on, when more people come, they will build the barrier again. Although the cars can pass by now, the police will reduce the protest site day by day. But we will build the barriers outside again.
The move comes after several hundred people against the protest, including taxi drivers, demanded major roads be cleared on Monday. All this, of course, as students activists are calling for free and democratic elections in Hong Kong.
And finally, treasure hunters in Scotland have discovered a major Viking hoard filled with artifacts dating back over 1,000 years ago. This is a find of a lifetime, I would say, and experts are hailing it as the most significant in the country's history.
That's right. It's the largest archaeological discovery of its kind ever in the United Kingdom, and one of the most valuable as well. The discovery was made on Sunday by an amateur team led by Derek McLennan in a field located in southwestern Scotland. More than 100 silver and gold artifacts were unearthed at the site, believed to have been gathered by Vikings while raiding across Europe during the 9th and 10th century. The National Museum of Scotland, which will house the rare items, said the find is the most significant Viking hoard in over a century.
Its importance goes well beyond that. This is a find of international significance, mainly from the range of places that the material in the hoard is from. We have jewellery from Ireland, jewellery from Scandinavia, glass beads from Central Europe, and of course that rather fantastic Carolingian vessel that has still to be excavated fully.
The collection, which contains relics from the Roman Empire, is reportedly worth a six-figure sum. After selling off the treasure, McLennan says he plans to split the profits with the Church of Scotland. Chery?
All right, thank you so much for those stories. Good stuff today, and we'll see you back here in just about 2 hours.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm Kim Bo-kyung with the weather updates. The first cold wave watch of the season has been issued for parts of Gyeonggi-do and Gangwon-do provinces. Also, at the moment, we are enjoying clear skies nationwide due to a high-pressure system from China. The leaves are starting to change color, and the fall foliage over at Mount Seorak will reach its peak this weekend, so it's definitely a sight worth checking out. As for tomorrow, morning temperatures will drop to the single digits, leading to a bigger gap in temperatures between the day and night. And looking ahead, nationwide autumn rain is in store this Thursday. On to Wednesday's readings. Seoul hits 20, Daegu and Busan 21. On to other regions. Jeju makes it to 20, Dokdo 16, Mount Kumgang 9. That's all the updates I have for Korea, and we leave you with the international weather.
And that will do it for this edition of ARIRANG News at 8. Thanks for watching.